Episode 1 of MobLand begins with a tense scene, immediately setting the tone and mood of this crime thriller. The relationship between the Dogan and Lazarus families goes back more than 3 decades, but things are tense between the current heads of both families. There's been a fallout between them, and trying to broker a peaceful resolution here is Harry de Souza, a representative that works on behalf of the Harrigan family. While the two do reluctantly agree to shake hands, they outright refuse to apologise, putting Harry in a difficult position. Conrad Harrigan, the man overseeing the gangs on his turf, is in a sticky position. Realising that his peace broker is only a temporary stopgap rather than a permanent solution, he has Harry shoot both gangs dead. Problem solved. While the adults seem to be in control, the same can't be said for their wild child children. Eddie Harrigan is Conrad's grandson, and he swings his family name around like a weapon, doing whatever he pleases with whomever he wants. His current friend happens to be Tommy, who's the son of Richie Stevenson and Conrad's biggest rival in London. Eddie and Tommy head out clubbing together, where Eddie abuses his power, going so far as to stab a kid called Huey in the middle of a club. Outside, he's reunited with Tommy once more, who's certainly spooked after the stabbing and curses his friend out for being crazy. Eddie throws a knife in the Thames and heads off, but Tommy's movements from here onward, however, are unclear. At the Harrigan estate, Conrad receives a visit from his brother Archie. They reminisce about their past after Maeve makes some snidey remarks to Archie, mistaking him for his dead brother, whom she was sure was killed. Some light foreshadowing maybe? The Eddie situation is quite the headache though, especially as this isn't the first time he's gone round stabbing kids. Harry shows up at the house to mediate, and he certainly doesn't beat around the bush here. He implores Eddie to work with him, otherwise he could face 5 to 10 years behind bars, regardless of his family connection. Unlike his father Kevin, it seems Harry actually has the balls to talk straight with the kid, and Eddie responds accordingly. Eddie reveals details about the club, although he fails to reveal he was with Tommy that night. Harry soon then asks around and finds out that the kid's full name is Huey Campbell, who's currently at the Homerton Memorial Hospital nursing his stab wound. Along with deleting the CCTV footage from the club, Harry also uses his contacts inside the police station, a guy called Liam, and someone from inside the hospital to gain access to Huey. Harry pays the guy a visit and reminds Huey that he wasn't stabbed by Eddie. Not really anyway. As a side note, it's actually quite ironic that the sign above Huey's head reads no sharps. Anyway, Harry continues on, threatening Huey until he plays ball. While the earlier gang problem was resolved with threats and subsequent deaths, the same can't be said for this one. Richie is hassled by his partner Ron to go looking for Tommy, given he hasn't shown up back home for a while. Richie soon starts to stitch everything together, learning that Tommy was hanging out with Eddie that night. Richie rings Kevin next, threatening war if Tommy's not back by the end of the day. While Harry is very adept at his job, the same can't be said for his family life. He's got a rocky relationship with his wife Jan, whom he seems to be arguing with a lot. Their daughter Gina is caught in the middle of this and tries to play the mediator, but it's clear there's a lot of unresolved drama here. Jan is desperate for them to go to therapy and iron out their issues, but Harry is loath to do that. He flat out refuses to even discuss their current issues, but eventually he does concede, telling Jan just to book it in and he'll work around it. But I think Jan knows he's probably just trying to shut her up and get back on with work. That much is especially apparent because he's got more pressing matters to deal with. Harry scrambles to resolve the Richie situation before things properly kick off. Eddie isn't exactly forthright with info, and Conrad decides they should organise a meet at Moody's boxing gym that night to try and straighten things out. Now, Moody's gym appears to be mutual ground here for the gangs that need to resolve pressing issues. Moody makes a tidy mint of this, mediating the leaders by forcing a 50k deposit and all phones to be handed over. He has some pretty strict rules, including no threats, and the implication here being that any bloodshed results in Moody keeping that 5k. Richie and Harry are the only ones inside the gym for the time being, but of course both have their men stationed outside. Harry gives instructions to sniper these goons if Conrad gives the message to do so, and thus the meeting goes ahead. The crux of the issue here stems from Richie demanding to talk to Eddie about what happened to Tommy, otherwise there will be drama. This gives Harry until noon the next day to sort everything out, otherwise things will escalate. Bringing Conrad, knowing that a war is imminent if Tommy doesn't show up, he hesitates in pulling the trigger and ending this before it begins. Maeve eventually encourages her husband to wait, believing this is the wrong place and wrong time to kill Richie. That night, Conrad's daughter Serafina shows up at the estate with Brendan. Maeve clearly doesn't like her, this isn't said, but perhaps she's an illegitimate daughter, while Kevin also rocks up too, although Eddie is obviously not here. The family lawyers are apparently also in attendance for this meeting as well, as Conrad lays out what they've been doing. Now, current rumours flying around the Harrigan gang is that the old man has lost his touch, given Richie has moved in and managed to secure a lucrative deal of fentanyl with the Mexicans. Fentanyl is the big business venture right now that the gangs are looking at, but all of this was actually part of Conrad's master plan. He knows the Mexicans are completely unpredictable, and the plan here was to let Richie move in and then lowball a better offer to the Mexicans once they've taken out Richie, and thus no more competition in the field. However, there's a problem. Maeve speaks to Conrad outside and informs him that Archie is actually a mole, given he's been working with Richie all this time to broker a better deal for himself. She encourages him to test Archie, and unfortunately he fails the test. Conrad shoots him dead, but he's clearly rattled by this, shaking off Maeve's touch in the hallway and heading upstairs, which is where episode 1 of MobLand comes to an end. So MobLand gets off to a great start here, with plenty of drama, gang shenanigans, and a lot of solid characterization right off the bat. There's a great cast at the helm of this one too, and they all chew the scenery in their respective roles. Brosnan's accent definitely takes some getting used to, but his charisma carries the scenes he's in, while Tom Hardy channels his usual deadpan humour and icy demeanour to great effect, showcasing a cool, calm, collected killer, but also a pretty hilariously ineffectual husband as well. All of this is helped along by little visual gags, like the ugly mug cup in front of Richie at Moody's gym, or the aforementioned no sharp sign above Huey's head in the hospital. These little bites of humour definitely help prevent this slipping into a full-on melodrama, but there's certainly a lot of tension throughout with this one too. The real question though stems from the potential traitor in their midst. Is Maeve just deflecting here, potentially covering for her own role to play in all of this? It's especially telling that she foreshadows Archie's death at the start of the episode too, which works as a nice way of framing the episode and the series as a whole. Also, what happened to Tommy? Where is he? If this is a sign of things to come, MobLand could be quite the endearing watch. Roll on next week's follow-up. Thanks for watching, and do let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash a like or subscribe to the channel, your support is very much appreciated. I'm Greg Wheeler, and from all of us over here at The Review Geek, we'll see you on the next video.